Keep a fire burning red in a Georgia representing of a comes hard here. You know. Big up Kidaki, Buxton Massive. Hey Babylon boy, you go on like come son. Red. Comes hard your son. You burn this wine when no want you shine. The tree of life, them no want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Tom's TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruption over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting oil money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which has ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. They got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam. Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London. Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow, Port People Governor. Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson. Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Quinton Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have
want you conniving. Money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money. You can keep your conniving money. When you been a corrupt, you know, bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, you know, bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money, neighbor, money, money. Now I don't want you conniving money. Neighbor, joker. Neighbor, joker. Neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that me walk. I said money, neighbor, money. I don't want you conniving money. Oh, Joseph.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Welcome to the program. Why did I allow this replay to run so deep into the time? Because it's a treasure trove of information. Quite frankly, I didn't have to do another program. I could open up the lines right now because we have so many things to talk about from this replay. Right? But it's Free Talk Friday. And so Free Talk Friday will allow you to talk about the things you want to talk about, including this replay. Good? Including this replay. The replay is on demand. You go to Cam's TV page. It's right here. I'll try to pin it to the top of the page so you don't have to really search for it. I'll pin it so you don't have to search for it. Good? What going on this Friday? I could tell you what's going on in the kitchen. In Lou's kitchen, I got chicken every time this thing pops up, every now and again, you know, every once in a while, that is a tight tongue, you know, heavy tongue nature that I grew up with comes out. Chicken. Yes, chicken is in the oven. So chicken is being baked. It is fried rice, home-style fried rice with baked chicken. And of course, those of you who wanted vegetarian, it's right there too. Good, so you can place some orders, call 622-5933, send a WhatsApp, place some orders. We can arrange delivery if you give us adequate time and so on. Don't wait until too late though. The orders must be completed before I get off of the program. If I get off of the program at 9 or 9:30, that's when the last order will be taken. Good, yeah. Karaoke was nice last night. Karaoke was nice last night. You see, a lot of people look for big crowds to enjoy themselves. But crowds have to grow, and it is people who grow crowds, right? We had a nice little gathering here last night for karaoke. And I must say this morning, good morning, Patsy. And you must give due respect to the elders. Good morning, Auntie Patsy. How you do? Auntie Patsy and her family came from the East Bank to celebrate with us at Club Twilight Karaoke Night. Auntie Patsy is 80 years old. And I will tell you, if you see Auntie Patsy going down the road, or if you see Auntie Patsy shaking in Club Twilight, you won't believe that's an 80-year-old, right? The lady looks 16, right? And I'm happy when I see our elders are well kept, surrounded with children and relatives and so on. You know, it brings such a joy to my heart. It brings such a joy to my heart. No, Raquel Gentle, I don't bring my karaoke live, and I will not bring my karaoke live for several reasons. Number one, I do a live program from Monday to Friday at no cost to you guys, really. I got to do something to earn a little money, man. Everything I want to see free. You must sit down in your house and enjoy karaoke. I ain't coming to the bar to buy a beer. That's not the purpose of people establishing bars and lounges and kitchens and restaurants and so on. It's to get people to come into this space so they could buy beer and enjoy the atmosphere. And also get out of that common space that you're always in. You're always in your house, surrounded by them four walls, watching TV. They're on social media. Come, Mama Raquel, give yourself a break. Come to Club Twilight and enjoy the ambience. The treatment is like the treatment, you know what it is to be catered to be served. You know, as women especially, you're in the home, you're serving your husband, you're serving your grandchild, you're serving your children, you're serving everybody. Who serves you? Come to Club Twilight. Let us serve you at Lou's Kitchen. Let us serve you at the bar. Let us take care of you. Right, Raquel? Apart from that, I am big on privacy. Very, very big on privacy. And I make it a policy. Those people who are associated with Club Twilight, I insist I get them to understand that when you're in this business, you gotta be a secret order, as what people say. It got to be a secret order. I go to the extreme. No, I can't tell you all. You're gonna say lewd. Right? But yeah. Anyhow, let me leave that out of this conversation. When you walk in here, I don't care who you're walking with. I don't care how long we know each other. You're here for business, and that is how it is treated, like business. You will never, not from this mouth of mine, hear that Tom Jones was here last night and he came with Carol. Or Carol was here and she came with John. No. We don't do that. And so people come to these venues and so on to relax and have fun with friends and even foes in some instances. And they don't necessarily want that broadcast. Why would I go and put the karaoke on live? No. I don't do them thing. Right? I don't do them things. So that's why we don't do karaoke live. I see somebody saying they miss Saturday rhythms. Yes, I too miss Saturday rhythms, but sometimes, like I say, and that is why I like Free Talk Friday, and I respond to people when they ask questions, so people understand. I miss Saturday rhythms. I used to enjoy doing Saturday rhythms, but sometimes you have to make a choice. Do you take care of your economic interests, or do you take care of other people's interests? I do other people's interests from Monday to Friday. I'm saying it again. I do other people's interests from Monday to Friday. Right? When I get off the program, like yesterday, I got off the program at 10 or thereabout, close to 10. When I get off the program at that hour in the morning, sometimes I rush all day into the night to get certain things done, because at the end of the day, I still have to earn my bread. And the things I do to earn my bread. I always say the people who have come into this space to stay at Lou's B&B can tell you what they recognize from me. Even if I go in late, I'm up early. And you, I guess you can tell it from the program too. For the greater part, I don't miss a day on this program. I don't miss the time on this program, unless I indicate to you and say, well, tomorrow we're not going to do any program for X or Y reason. I'm dedicated to doing this Monday to Friday. And so when it comes to Saturdays, the choice is you have a business to run, you have supplies to go and get, you have things to do on Saturday. And so do you kill yourself out to get another program on Saturday, albeit an entertainment program? Especially when you ask people to contribute $5 per program and they think it's too expensive or you don't deserve it. This is Free Talk Friday, so I'm talking to you about that. Let's make Saturday Rhythms a subscribed program, in that you come on Saturday Rhythms, everybody willing to put in $2. Michelle Jones, congratulations. Big up yourself, Michelle Jones. I haven't seen you in a while. I know you're working and things are tight and busy and so on. But Michelle Jones was one of the first persons to suggest that, you know, when we were on Saturday Rhythms, everybody put $1. I think that was the amount she suggested. You know how much we got that day when she suggested? Huh? I think she was the only person who they put a $5 or something. I can't remember the exact figures and so on. So if you want to receive, you have to sometimes gift. Right? Good. So I had to choose What do I do on Saturday? Saturday rhythms for entertainment and relaxation of everybody else and work for yourself and no income generation and so on. No. Come to Club Twilight Saturday night and you're going to get Saturday rhythms because we're going to play the same oldies music. We're going to sell beers and everything. Everybody going to have a fun time. Everybody going to benefit. I will be able to run the club on Saturday night. Right? You will get your enjoyment. We'll make some money. You help me, I help you. I'll wash your hand. Is that what I'm saying? Good. So this morning, like I said, it's Free Talk Friday. I tell you as it is. That is why we don't do do Saturday rhythms. But I'll tell you the other parties. Princess Marcus, I can do it once a month. You willing to pay? What was I about to say? Oh, I am still, and this is me. This is me. And I always say to you, when I come to you, I come with a pure heart. I just speak my mind. Right? This ain't got no cloak and dagger. Right? This ain't got no cloak and dagger. I personally am working, in my mind, I'm working. I want to have on CAMS TV a program that is strictly entertainment. Strictly entertainment. Good? So I am really working on a concept where I can have a DJ come in, or even virtually on a particular day and provide entertainment, musical and otherwise. It might be a, what we call it? And don't worry the technicality. Oh, it might be a magazine program, right? A magazine program where you get music, you get tidbits, you get conversations and so on and so forth. But I'm working on that. For the last year or so, I've had that concept in my head. Part of the thing is finding people willing to do it. And when I say finding people willing to do it, again, it comes back to what I say. There's a cost to everything. Regardless of how I say this is free, and there's a cost to everything. The average person you talked about hosting a program on CAMS TV, a program of that nature, first thing they want to know, they're getting paid. Who paying me? They don't see it as promoting their skill, Right? They don't see it as promoting their skill, As an opportunity to advertise what they're doing, All they see is you ask them to do something and you must pay them for it. And there's a reality. The young people is the old people, everybody got the same attitude nowadays. GT Starbucks say get some sponsorship, advertising, etc. Very good, very, very, very good. Very, very, very good suggestion, GT Starboy. I want to make you marketing manager at large. See if you can get those ads to me. Guyanese people live in so much fear. And I might as well open up the line because we started a general conversation. So the lines are opened. You can call and let's talk. Just understand, don't cut me in the middle of what I'm saying. Right? Guyanese people live in such fear that business really actually don't want to associate with CAMS TV. CAMS TV is seen as anti-government. CAMS TV is seen as always challenging the government. CAMS TV is not seen by many as doing social services or civil, taking on the civic responsibility to the government honest and accountable. They see CAMS TV as anti-government. And once CAMS TV is anti-government, we can't associate with CAMS TV because the government is going to do what? Punish us. So businessmen see if we advertise on CAMS TV, then maybe they're going to send GRA after us. Maybe they're going to send Bureau standards after us. Maybe they're going to... You understand, right? You know the intimidation, right? You know the coercion, right? Maybe they're going to isolate us. We ain't going to get contracts. We ain't going to get this. We ain't going to get that. And so it's not easy to get anybody to really advertise with CAMS TV. I can tell you this. I don't know if this proprietor would like me to say, but I'm going to say it anyhow. Because he knows it to be true. You see, Harris Butchery, which is advertised on CAMS TV here. The man does get a hard time. They got a certain set of people that he was taking chicken from for forever. And since he started advertising on Cams TV, they started cutting his quantity. Nowadays, it's difficult for him to get adequate chicken to supply his customers. And that is why, for example, you see me advertising large quantity of chicken needed. But he is a special kind. That's all I could say. He's a special kind. You got a belly to recognize that, hey, things like these need support if we're going to have a better society. A lot of other people are about their profit margin. You trust me. And so they ain't going to take the chance. Call it life. Thank you for holding.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. Help is on the way. But we have to do our best and leave the rest from Mr. Arby Norton. What is the best you're talking about, Flash God, this morning? Our best is to put all our eggs in his basket. What is all our eggs? Our vote from Mr. Arby Norton. You see, yesterday program was good and bad because Flash God, two words band together, good and bad. But we must learn these things, these words. Do not force ours to eat grass. And this is why the prayer asks God for these many spirits to guide me and protect me and cover me. And one spirit I ask for him is a spirit when I say, Lord, I know your time is my time, and my time is not your time. And we must always pray and ask God, and let we acknowledge that God's time is our time is not God's time. And when God provides something for us, we must accept it. We must make sure we benefit from it too. I love to use the word cocoa price. When God provides cocoa price for us, it's well cooked, it's well blessed, nourished. You will receive strength and not cocoa price because God provided it. But when God provides it for you, beware of it. Don't touch it. Because we will look out and see our neighbors cook mutton curry. And we left God blessing food cocoa price. And we gone for the cocoa. And we don't question that mutton curry. You don't know who cooked it. What inside of it? Is God bless it? No. Next you know, you get diarrhea. You're sick. And you died. I want to blame God. What am I talking about? I'm talking about politics this morning. Campaign time. God did not provide right and food for us. Let me don't get fooled. You know who provide right and food for us? For me, our leader is Granger, Arman, Mark, Brown, John Thompson, and Richard Boyd.
So who did God provide for us?
Pardon me?
Who did God provide for us?
Like you hear me said, Arby Norton.
Oh, you know that.
Arby Norton for us.
Flash Garden. Flash. You know I got grave respect for you. But the nonsense don't come here with it. You know what I'm saying? How God provide Norton and you provide Ford? How you know that?
Because I'm a man of God. I'm a man of God. I believe in God.
Norton,
is not a God of corruption.
Flash Garden.
Or confusion.
Flash Garden.
God will not provide two leaders for you.
Flash Garden. Are you becoming just now we gonna talk about the two leader business and God. Are you becoming like Ejel that said God would vote for the PPP?
Listen to me. That is Mr. Ejel. I cannot speak for Mr. Ejel. I never speak for Flash Garden. And I study the word of God.
Wasn't Joshua and Moses the leading the people out of Egypt or something? Also, who are the two leaders that are carrying the people out of bondage?
Moses Moses and Joshua.
So you're telling me God don't provide two leaders for you?
The leader. Listen. Joshua was not the leader. Moses was the leader. But God made Joshua to be side of Moses. That's why Moses did not take the people to the promised land. It is Joshua.
So why can't that be an Armin situation? Why can't that be an Armin situation?
No. Joshua never do nothing wrong against Moses. Or so that this guy who had was caught gossiping, but his leader and what blank check. God didn't provide him to do that nonsense like that.
But could that be him holding his leader accountable?
Who?
Could it be he was trying to hold his leader accountable? Which organization allows you to write a blank check?
Not in that way, my brother. If you want to hold your leader accountable, you have to keep it in service with the leader as a skipper, ABC. Not to go on the phone with the Amadam. I bad last night, but God still blessed me with knowledge. You don't disrespect your leader in that way for holding him accountable for gossip on his phone and that nonsense. But let me get back to what we have to say, please. Because my mother had 25 votes for Abinatu. 25 votes. Let me don't rush to Ukwa now. We got to focus on Abinatu and rally behind him. That is my thing every day. Your program. I said my campaign starts for Abinatu through your program. Why we looking here and looking there? We need a politician. We need a person who knows about politics and politics. Desmond Prasad did not know about politics. He was a politician. But we end up taking my vote for him, and we suffered 26 years. Grayson don't know what politics and politics. He was a politician, and we end up suffering from saying 22 to now. Come on, Mr. Anderson. Let me get real. Let me accept what God bless us with. We already have a leader. What more are we looking for? Punishment again? I've been not qualified for me and my family then. You know what my sister told me a couple weeks ago before I go? She said, it is time for PNC acknowledge to use that word to me. I said, wow. It is time for PNC acknowledge WPA, and they should take Mr. Amsterdam for being the next Prime Minister. People are still looking at your program and saying, well, yes, it is time. One more thing before I go. I see a video with this girl run the bar of the nonsense, crossing out this guy Mudwater and calling for the government for finding him and lock him and jail him because he exposing our young teenager daughters. Before she tell the government for putting in place like program for young teenager in afternoons program or some program and teach them that how they're damaging themselves. She's supposed to do that on the program. I learned one thing from my workplace. My boss said this to me, Flash, when you see a worker get fired from a company, he fired himself first because he did something against the company rules and law and order. Now, these young girls, we have to find time on program and teach our young girl child, stop making your boyfriend make you do nonsense because it will stay with you until the world ends. Because TikTok is all about money. Don't let your boyfriend tell you, say, look, So naked picture that nonsense that, and parents and all their parents responsible for that. Begin teaching your children, your child. Stop tell your boyfriend, play. You their sister send that for you. That is totally disrespect. And last, if any two of them young teenager, if a boyfriend tell them nonsense, bust him out. And to the wife and woman, if a husband or mother like say with them nonsense that, bust them out, take them call like low life, bust them out because they're not supposed to call like yellow because low life, the next you know they will want to kick you. You have a lovely weekend.
Thank you for your call. Let me tell you something. You know, part of our problem, as I find it, as we discuss in leadership and Army Norton and WPA and coalition and government and all that, some people believe that if you do one thing, it is exclusive, you can't do something else. I like to say we can go next. There are lots of things that we can do hand in hand. Separate and apart. But they will complement each other anyhow. People believe, for example, that if David Hines said that he won't be president, it means Harvey Norton can be president. It doesn't mean that they have to be president at the same time. People believe that if David Hines said that he won't be the #1 leader or top leader, Harvey Norton can be the top leader. David Hines could be top leader for WPA. Harvey Norton be top leader for PNC. And they can still collate or coalesce to form a government. It is the two of them who got to sit at the table and work out the ramifications. Or the two organizations, the two political parties. Y'all know a tired saying, when you call, I accept your call, mute your mic. It is very distracting. It's for the two political parties to sit, their leaders to sit with their representative bodies. And negotiate the terms and conditions of the quote-unquote marriage. AFC had the leadership, PNC had the leadership, WP had the leadership, APNU had leadership. When they came together in 2015 to win the election. At the end of the elections, AFC controlled X number of ministries. It came out of negotiation. So I don't see coming out of yesterday's program, coming out of this continued discussion. Why people have this fear that if, or this belief that if David Hines admits or accepts that he won't be top leader, Harvey Norton can't be top leader. Royce Ford say he won't be top leader, Harvey Norton can't be top leader. The thing with Royce Ford and Harvey Norton, they're in the same political organization. Both of them can't be party chairman or party leader. But both of them could contest to the position. The party membership will determine who they want. Just like I said yesterday, unless you put your name on a ballot, you can't determine if the people want you electorally or not. I could sit down here and I could get 1,000 views in the morning, live viewers. I could hear 1 million Flash Gordon say, we want you as Prime Minister. But how do I test that? Unless I put my name on a ballot. I don't know if the people want me electorally, if the people see me in that light. Yesterday, somebody talked about being anointed or waiting for the anointing. Enough of us got our anointing and we didn't know. We didn't recognize it because we are scared to accept the responsibilities. And it is, quote unquote, leaders like us who are fearful of accepting our responsibilities that give way to mediocrity. Because when strong leaders fail to accept, to lead from the front, from the top, then weak leaders step forward. And by default, lead from the front, from the top. And the result is usually chaos. I know when I come here in the mornings and I talk about certain things, it ruffles people's feathers. If people got fed up, proverbially. Right? It upsets people. It infuriates people. But will that stop me from speaking my truth? Well, then I ain't being the messenger of God according to Flash. I believe that there are some people who are right for leadership in this society. And for the matter, I called some names this morning. Because hearing certain utterances really and truly disappoints me. People might say it's my ego. But my ego is to the people. It aggravates me. We got a man like Vincent Alexander. We got, like I usually say, my senior counsel, Nigel Hughes. We got David Hines. These are three hardcore African Guyanese who I believe are capable of leading this nation for the benefit of every citizen. Not for the benefit of Afro-Guyanese alone or Indo-Guyanese alone, but hear me, every citizen. And for as long as these men will not step forward and say, hey, give me the mantle to turn this thing around, they're waiting at the people to call it. I got a problem with that. Because the people recognize their value. And that is why the people listen to them. And that is why the people gravitate to them. But they have to say to the people, we are ready to lead you. Don't tell me nothing about waiting for people to call. You will know if the people support your offer of leadership when you put your name on the ballot. And that's my position. And I am not ashamed of it. And I will not be apologetic about it. You want to tell you another thing which aggravates me? The people believe that you have to have an African Guyanese, Indo-Guyanese combination to win an election in this country. I am saying it's nonsense. I am saying let the best lead. During the course of this week, we hear discussion like, are we not just trying to test it? We know what Ari not is capable of. We know what Rizal Ford capable of. We know what Amanza capable of. We know Garnish. But how do you know people's capability if you don't give them the opportunity? That's my question. How do you know people's capability if you don't give them the opportunity? You could teach, you could be, and I'm talking from the position of an educator, you could then front the chalkboard all day, you could explain till your spit turned to blood. How do you know that your students have learned? Or you talk at them and say, do this. How do you? I have been in classrooms and my students will tell you that. I've been in classrooms when students ask me a question. Oh, shoot, good question, you know. Let me do some homework. You come with your answer tomorrow and I can come with my answer tomorrow. There's nothing wrong in that. But we must get it 100% right. We must feel in our spirit. We must be so absolutely sure that we're not going to be rejected before we accept to lead or we offer ourselves to lead. The Rasta man say we can't. Caller, your life.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, all Guyanese. And good morning, everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. The question you pose, how do we know people are capable of leading unless we give them opportunities to lead, to be part of the candidacy? Well, if you're going to buy a car, you should at least test drive it. And we can't be in the business of buying pig in bag. All right? Someone sells you a cell phone on the street, you got to at least test the cell phone. Has Amanza been tested? Amanza has been selected and pushed to the front. I don't know that Amanza has been tested, in my opinion.
How do you test somebody like Amanza?
Well, Amanza has been on the test trail for the last 3 years. Now, what has she provided in terms of the kind of leadership that is needed? Given the request and the crisis that we are facing, she has been on the platform to demonstrate what she's capable of. She's had 3 years to demonstrate. Okay? So, she could have mobilized. She could have advocated on the platform several things that we know are needed. She hasn't done that. Okay? And I could run the list. What is Amanda's proposal? Have you heard him yet? In 3 years, a lawyer? She ain't short of words.
Did you hear Amanza say she's running for leadership?
Pardon me?
Did you hear Amanza say she's running for leadership for the party?
Amanza is running for leadership.
Oh, you know.
Amanza ran for the chairman.
Run? As against run?
Yes. Now let's deal with Royce Ford. Same thing. It's not about Amanza only. It's about all the people who you just mentioned over the past 2 or 3 days. Royce Ford is the same thing. Royce Ford has gone to court. That's his job to do. Go to court. What has Royce done differently, leadership-wise, other than come up with a fraud situation against Conrad Norton about some checks? That sounds like dissension. He screwed up Petition 99. He said that PNC is not a black people party. And I think he leading for 5% votes that he can't get nowhere. Now, all the time he's auditioning now. Look at his audition. Okay? See, that's not me saying that. That's what he's doing. And when you're running for candidacy, you got to demonstrate what you're capable of. And he's been demonstrating. Okay, so I'm not trying to beat up on him. If he could bring a miracle, then we will vote for a person who could bring, because we need miracles right now. Figuratively speaking, we need a miracle. Aubrey seems, the race is only between those in the executive. It can't be between Kofi or Dr. Hines, because they are not in the executive. So they can't run. So as much as we will say, Kadaki should do, but Kadaki is not in the PNC executive, so he's not even a contender. Now, let's deal with Vincent Alexander. I think he's a very capable brother in terms of how he speaks. He has some training back in the days, much training, but good is as good does. Dr. Hines is underground. And Dr. Hines has demonstrated more than the whole bunch of them put together. I don't always agree with a lot of things that Dr. Hines says, but Dr. Hines has demonstrated that he has a worldview. He's able to make the necessary distinctions that befuddles most of these tenured politicians in Guyana. He's able to clarify things that they're stumbling over, that they had the opportunity, they had the platform in the last 23 years, Corbyn coming all the way down, and they ain't able to do what Dr. Hines is doing. Mind you, he's a professor. That's his bread and butter. But he's also not only about words, he came on the ground to mobilize. That's interesting. Here's a man talking the talk and is able to put it into action. You see what I'm saying? You're looking for that. We're looking for actionable theories brought into practice. Not just come and talk to us and then you can't implement on the ground where the tire hits the road. I do believe that Manza and Rosedale Ford have the potential, but they have not carried their theory into practice. And that is what we need. So understand what Coffee is saying. I am not beating down Manza. She's from Berbice, the current team. And Linden, Rosedale Ford, I mean, there's all black people, they deserve a chance. But we can't get hung up on you know, looks and sympathy. We did it with Granger. Right? So we need a man or a woman who could make magic happen. That's the complaint. Mr. Amsterdam, let me use you as a test case because you put your candidacy out there. If you were, or when you are, either or, as candidate for presidency, this is hypothetical. So you don't have to hold you to this. How would you handle minimum wage? How would you handle livable wages? How would you handle America's foreign policy with Venezuela? How would you handle the judicial system? How would you handle the education system? You could choose to answer them today if you want to.
Coffee, I answered those things a long time ago.
Good.
Yes,
right?
I'm going to reiterate
That's
to you.
what I'm saying. No, because, I mean, you know, you put your candidacy out there. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But at some point in time, we need to match what we're saying and implement it. Rosedale Ford, nobody's holding his hands. He hasn't done what Dr. Hines has done. I haven't seen Rosedale Ford do any mobilization. What's stopping him? And anybody else that wants to run. So you think you're just going to come up?
Call up.
And talk.
I don't want to miss this thought, so I want to say this because it crossed my mind like 3 times and I didn't say it. Let me say this. The only way you can test whether or not Rosedale Ford mobilized or whether or not Amanza mobilized is by their names going on the ballot in the PNC leadership election. Because that is what they have to be mobilizing for in this point in time. And the results should tell you whether or not they have out-mobilized Norton or out-mobilized each other or Norton has out-mobilized them. We can't sit here and theoretically say they aren't organizing or they haven't been organizing. As a matter of fact, just as though we have seen Aubrey Norton in Region 9, I think, recently, I have seen videos and photos of Amanza and Rosedale in other sections of the country. So it means that all of them are out there mobilizing. You will now test that mobilization when it comes to Congress. It's the only way you're going to know who was the better mobilizer.
Let me respond to that respectfully. Dr. Hines has mobilized in the way that addresses the crisis. You could walk around and shake hands in my front gate for 2 minutes and then go to the next neighbor gate for 2 minutes. That's what's been happening. Okay? That's what's called mobilization. And I know people are going to try to stretch that word mobilization. I heard the House whip. People could stretch mobilization and make anything seem like it's mobilization. Mobilization, given the crisis, needs to be mobilization that could effect change and give us the type of force that we need, given the type of crisis that we are facing. And a mobilization in 1992 is not the same mobilization in 2024. The crisis is different. And the implementation needs to be the difference. Now, to answer your question about mobilization before or after, Dr. Hines mobilized based upon the crisis, and he wasn't even running for candidacy. So you don't have to mobilize only when you put your name on the ballot. That's why I raised Dr. Hines. To give a classic example of someone who gave the type of ground mobilization, because ground mobilization is what addresses appropriately the crisis at hand. Amans hasn't done that, or Dr. or the rest of them haven't done that. Aubrey has been doing that. But Aubrey needs to do more of that, and I am not the only one saying that. I think I will have to vote for Comrade Norton. But I want Comrade Norton to know that he cannot take our votes for granted. I think I can say that because I have a vote. I'm going to give him my vote, possibly. But damn, don't take my vote for granted. Because this is the type of thing that comes back to haunt us. What I mean by granted, there are a lot of us who are crying out across the diaspora and Guyana that we need more emphasis on people's involvement. I spoke about that a few days ago. We are hearing, or we tend to conceptualize, that the only voice that needs to be heard on the agenda is the voice of the party leadership.
Well, we have to start wrapping up.
Okay, we've tried that. But party leadership, for the most part, people, has been only addressing their special interest issues. And if you look at these comments on your show, Mr. Amsterdam, on different shows, you see that people are calling out in the comments other things that aren't being addressed. So you have to surmise that, oh shucks, the leadership aren't addressing these issues. So who will address them? We need the type of people to address them.
Thank you, caller.
That's where you come in.
Thank you, caller.
That's come in. Once again, thank you for accepting the call.
You know, we maintain. When those people put their name on the ballot, the results will tell whether they mobilize or whether they are chosen. It's the people who will make the decision. Not us here on social media. All of us know who we want support and who we want lead and all of that. But at the end of the day, just like elections day, is who in the ballot booth will decide who comes out on top. I mean, there are other factors that one might have to consider, but ceteris paribus. Call it life. Call it life.
Good morning, Brother Kidaki. Good morning, Brother Kidaki. Let me say that I enjoy the criticism and the vetting of all the leaders. It shows that within the coalition movement, there's a great semblance of democracy, so to speak. We must be able to criticize and vet our leader, or else we make a mistake. We make some very huge mistake. I'm of the view that the coalition made a huge mistake in choosing Ranger as the presidential candidate of that party, because he's failed to, in my opinion, he has failed miserably. You understand? I know there will be a lot of criticism of my saying that, but I'm always on the ground. I was there when throughout the entire process, after the recount and before the recount, during the recount, and I think the results failed a lot. That said, I would like to suggest that, seeing that I reject your notion that there should not be a mix of political leadership in either of the parties. You cannot get the support, or the masses will not see themselves represented in any political process if races are not represented. You know, you have to have the races represented. I would want to suggest Aubrey Norton and Moses Nabutu has a very good working relations. And I know there is a lot of differences that was meted out between, you know, the AFC and Moses and so on during that process of the recount and all of that. Because it is said that some people turned off the phone and they could not have been reached senior leadership within the party, and they could not have reached within in that process. So my suggestion to the program or to the coalition or to our people, our supporters is that, hey, we need the best person who can win this thing. And in my opinion, if Aubrey and Moses can work something out, you have Aubrey, you have Moses, you have Nigel, you have Kemraj. All of these are great leaders and honest leaders. So I'm saying that I want to put forward this to the public or to the nation. Let Aubrey choose his running mate as Moses. The two of them run for 2 years each, change around the leadership and provide good leadership for Guyana. Because I think both of them, their hands are clean, their hands are not tainted. You cannot accuse Aubrey of nothing, of stealing. You cannot accuse Moses of stealing nothing. Moses was still there, he was gracious prime minister.
Caller, sorry, but Moses is the past. Moses is retired from politics. Let's talk present and future.
No, I don't think Moses has retired from politics.
Well, I am sure I read or heard somewhere Moses say he done with politics, he's going right now. Well, last you heard Moses on a political matter in this country.
Well, let me say to you, Brother Kidaki, that Moses has completed his books. And he's launching his books today as the Pegasus at 6 p.m.
And so that means, he could come back for political leadership?
We should keep our ears out for an announcement.
Well, let me tell you before that announcement, sir. Hear me just now. Let me tell you, before I hear that announcement, right? Any politician who can serve at the highest level disappear when the people suffering and then come back to tell me they want to lead. I can't find the right word. I don't want to say the wrong things, but I don't think they deserve the support of people.
You said yourself just now that the man was writing the book and he's completed his assignment. You have your personal thing. You just said on the program that after the program is done, you got to be oscillating to do your stuff.
Why I didn't sit as president or prime minister of this country? I don't get a pension, multi-million-dollar pension as prime minister or president of this country. I wasn't sitting there when regime change took place and people were left in hell. And if you think it's the best time to take time out to write your book or your books and then come back and tell me that you want me to give you the chance to lead again, I got to be a damn fool. And I'm being honest.
Well, you see, I sort of agree with you, but at the same time, you got to look at the criteria of winning. You may be wrong by doing that, but you have to look at the best possible candidate for winning. The thing is that the main objective is winning. I really agree with you. Well, all right. Grange did the same thing. Grange never come to the public and said that, we're sorry, we went wrong, and so on. I can remember in the days that Desmond used to take us to the Square Revolution. I mean, he will explain it. Grange never did that too, but Grange is still holding on as head of the list and making decisions.
That too shall soon end. That too shall soon end. I explained to folks in the course of this week's discussion that the current leader of the list becomes extinct in the new electoral cycle. So even if Granger wants to hold on for Thy Kingdom come right now, automatically once the next electoral cycle starts, Granger's no more. And just like Moses, you think Granger could come and tell me you want to lead anything and I support it? I gotta be mad. Continue.
Okay. I think you should get me clear. I do agree that for some reason you had to fall out, abandon the people or whatever. I do agree with you, and then you come back now. But please understand my position. My own position is not that I'm pushing a particular narrative. My position is clear that let's look at the winnable candidates. And for me, I will tell you clearly, Brother Kidaki. You see, all the people were running around the place and say, oh, they want to fighting. No, I'm not. Now, let me jokers. You're not ready for Jambio as yet. You're not ready for Jambio politics as yet. I tell you plain and straight. That man, Jambio's a hard player. He goes to the extreme. He tried to play a kind of Putin role. And y'all are ready for it. Them are ready for it. You talk about Manzo with Jambio. Right, still with Jambio.
Caller, can you wrap up?
Man, you guys think. Yeah, thanks a lot for allowing me. You have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you for your call. Listen, I see is who this? Yeah, that's why I laugh. Run the Daniels chance. Wanda, what gives you the impression I'm attacking PNC? What have I said here that suggests that I'm attacking PNC, man? It's what you want with me this morning. Call you live.
Morning, Kadaki. You right and still fight. You might even get inspiration whilst fighting for your right. So Moses taking time off the right, let him continue to write. He's still on the right, so we're done with him. Time to move forward. You know what this qualifier is for me? I got a serious problem with secrecy, or if you perceive that this person, you must pull this out publicly, even though this boy is on your same side. If my brother got treated too, and I know that my brother treated too, if I say publicly that will hurt my brother to the core, me and my brother could be fighting in public. I will never ever say my brother got treated too. And I'll never forget the disdain that man got for Norton. When he was on Harmon's fence, he said that Aubrey Norton will never ever get an Indian vote. Trying to say that Indians hate Aubrey Norton, or Aubrey Norton hates Indians. Certain things are not for the public. This guy got a disdain for that man, and no matter what. And this is why I'm saying, should Aubrey beat him this round, he gonna become a Granger and a Harmon. So people, be careful. Be careful with the choices you want to make. I don't like tear-mouths on my side. And you should never like tear-mouths. You're not people to be trusted. This is all I have to say.
Thank you for your call. I'm loving this. I am enjoying this, quite frankly. Let every man have his say. Yeah. I just think I get all a free pass, though. Call it live.
Good morning to Mr. Babaki and those who are in and out of the diaspora. God bless you. Guyanese, let us understand they are different of kind of righteousness. And when we speak about God's righteousness, for example, it goes in accord to God's word, God's will, and God's way. But when you're looking at man's self-righteousness, it goes in accord to their five senses assessment that pleases them. And so there's where some people be careful when you're saying, God said this or God this or God. Anything could be a God, anybody could be a God if you put in the almighty position. Even the devil, even Lucifer is a God. But so when we speak about the almighty God, he works in mysterious way, and he uses who he chooses that are willing to be obedient to his will, his word, and his way. In other words, what I'm saying is that he can use anybody. For example, Zacchaeus was a thief man. He used to rob people in tax. He had a climb up in a tree when Christ called him down, and he was saved. He changed. The woman by the well was a prostitute. She was all in the marriage. She got God which was before the community action and relationship. She also changed immediately. What I am saying is that even Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. God used whom he choose. I said only a patient needs a doctor. Those who are not patient don't need doctor. And then we went on, but God, he worked in a mysterious way. So don't let us condemn nobody who be taken not fit or who may not be fit unless they be placed there. Then you might shock. You might be shocked to see some pure performance. However, for example, we could assess things like Mr. David Hines. He is qualified, he is fit to be prime minister, even president. But most of us know he would be honest, he would be a balanced president. In other words, he know what's going on again. He wouldn't be, it's not that he's racial, but he would balance the nation. And he know those who were exploited, he can try to put it back into the right perspective. But many people told us he's racial, or he thinking of it, but that's not it. And that is righteousness, putting the right in perspective and supporting it. Those leaders that we got, the leaders them got to be strong enough to stand up and face the world powers, to stand up for what is right, regardless of what situation. And that's when we got quality leader, or leader not because they body want be and the body want. Anybody could be a leader, but when they stand up for the righteousness of God. Let me see what kind of the Constitution. You watch and see how they going to amend it, like what the president of Guyana is saying. One Guyana, one Guyana. You don't know what's going on already. The world power them are pushing LGBTQ. And you can see they want to make way for that. Against God's will and God's word and God's will. And that's what I'm saying. Anybody could be qualified, pertaining that they put themselves to righteousness, God's righteousness, and not the righteousness of man. And so let us understand, regardless of who want to run for prime minister or president, we have a right to vote for who we choose and recommend who we choose. And like I said before, Dr. Hines is qualified, but he tried to avoid unnecessary things and stress his own self out. So he's a blessing. And Mr. Karaoke, God bless the program. And once again, Guyanese bless us all. Let us stand up in the righteousness of God and vote for righteousness regardless of what to get a change and get this government out of this wickedness with the do to this nation. Please, kindness. Have a blessed day, Mr. Karaoke.
Thank you for your call. Somebody saying Karaoke Amsterdam for education minister. I don't want it. I want some people and take back all the money that they thief from this nation. Yeah, keep that in mind. And work in the education ministry. Happily and comfortably. But I want to know that there's somebody in the next government that is going to be willing to go after the PPP and the police for all that they've stolen from this nation. And it's no idle talk. Call it life.
Morning, Kadaki. Good morning, Guyana. Very spirited conversation for Free Talk Friday. And I'm coming from the perspective that regardless of who is the chairman of the PNC, I think they would toe the party line. They're not going to go outside of what the belief of the party is, whether it's Roysdale Ford or Renard, because of how the APNU is made up. They're not going to go far enough in reference to African Guyanese because they would be afraid of not garnering Indian votes compared to the racist PPP, which is just all Indians, majority 99%. So they can say and do what they want, and they will still get most of the Indian votes. So, in my opinion, again, Amanza, Roysdale Ford, anyone else would be afraid to think outside the box, because when we look at the finances and we're looking for monetary and votes, we're always going to be cognizant of not going too far, to being afraid to get Indian votes. So it's a dilemma, in my opinion, when it comes to the PNC. And we've noticed they're not going to say a lot prior to being elected. And we can go back to when Henry Norton was running for the chairman, of the things he said prior. But when he gets in there, he has totally held back and refused to say anything in reference to wanting to appear balanced. And that's the serious problem being in the leadership of the party. And like you rightfully said, it's only the executive that we see running for party leadership. Why not broaden that scope in bringing in others, and you don't have to be an executive? And that's my take.
Thank you. I see someone black man say wishful thinking. I don't think it's wishful thinking. It was done before. State Asset Recovery Agency was established under the coalition government, and they were going after stolen state assets. Maybe not bullish enough, maybe not with enough arrogance. I use that particular word, arrogance, because we have seen the arrogance of the PPP. Jack Deo, for example, had the temerity to say he won't pay another cent. A man like me would have make you pay another cent. Trust me, because we would be arrogant alike. Sometimes it can be statesman like dealing with certain imbeciles. Call it life.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki. Now in all the talking and so out the water, I think was a comment, a typed comment where somebody was asking you about putting everything on the open like your karaoke and things. You are writing that answer. Because Kadaki, you know where I'm living. And I just find at some time I would come, not only talking on the program, I would come and give you, no Kadaki, I would come and give you my body presence by appearing at your place, just to, let you feel that what you're doing on the air. I accept it, and I am glad to be a part, even if you would cut me off and so. And sometimes I'm annoyed, and then sometimes I'm not annoyed. Anyway, in all the catching up, we have not remembered those children who went out to the Karaoke games, this race thing what they got. And a lot of them did well. And nobody in the concern, in their time to say shout out and congratulations to them. And I want to be one of the persons who is congratulating them. On the other arm area with this thing with what's going on in the PNC. Now in Guyana, we copy everything from America because summer, we don't have no other climate, only summer alone. Next week, we're going to start doing about summer. Now in America, when they have a party that is in power, right now is the Democrats in power, you would not hear the Democrats running to get a presidential candidate because they have Joe Biden there as a presidential candidate. But you would hear the Republicans looking to get a presidential candidate, so they're going to get these different runoff caucus, this, da, to get a presidential candidate. Now there is Norton as the leader of the opposition. Norton did an election and he won. He went to local government election. There is where you would test the legal qualifications of his two main opponents as running for leadership of the party now. Now local government election was held on June the 12th, 2023, and to date, an official declaration of that election has not been made public. Now you got lawyers running a Manza and Rosedale. These are punts. To me, if they now had to say, well, look, we need the installed regime to give a proper report on the local government. You left all them things under the table. Now, as big lawyers, when Roxanne George said that she found Order 60 as an unconstitutional law, remember the CCJ told her not to use Order 60 to put in anybody to run this country, but go back to what it was before. There is where the testicular fortitude of these two lawyers who are now running to be leader of the opposition to the saying, no, what? Let us forego the petition case and take the acting chief judge to task to let us tell us when did she realize that Order 60 was unconstitutional. And if
Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, neighbor, morning. Good morning, Corindi. Mamich, good morning. Them not like me conniving morning. It is 7 hours 32 on the 8th day of April in the year 2024. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. How are you doing? How are you been? How was your weekend? What you do over the weekend? Did you make money or love? Or you made love and money? What did you do? Did you take time to rest and recuperate? What about taking time to pamper yourself? You know, you can't be going at it every day, all day, day in, day out. Sometimes you gotta rest, step back, look around, and say, you know what? I ain't feel like doing nothing today. And because I ain't feel like doing nothing today, nobody can make me do nothing. Right? How about that? That's a good thing to do. Every now and again. Some days you just gotta look around here and say, listen, if I drop down today, right? So be it. So be it.
Hello guys, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today, let's review this amazing TikTok.
I'm not coming to work today. I can't see. No, nothing wrong with my eyes. I just can't see myself coming to work today. Thank you. In other words, I'm not doing one raw soul today.
I just realized you won't be hearing the audio, but if you were hearing I'm not coming to work today, then that was my intention. I wanted to play that song for you, but then I realized I have to share a whole screen to hear that song to play. Right, anyhow, I just had a good weekend. I'm hoping that you are refreshed and that, you know, you are reinvigorated. And you are renewed because you recognize the importance of continuing the fight. Right? I'm all those things. I feel like, you know, you can't allow the energy to wane at this time. You got to get a little more busy. Colin Wainwright, Peters, you're not getting sound. I know you're getting sound. Check again. All right, so here there are a number of things that we have to talk about. Coming off of good Free Talk Friday evening, we have to talk about a number of things. But somewhere along the line, I want to talk to you about how much money your government, the Guyana government, is taking from our coffers. I can't even say to co-sponsor, but let's say to co-sponsor. Burna Boy coming to Guyana. Y'all heard about that? Listen to the advertisement and you're going to hear the advertising. It's hosted by St. James and E-Networks and One Guyana. Is One Guyana an organization? Is One Guyana a government entity? What is One Guyana? I thought One Guyana was a concept. And so where does this concept, One Guyana, get money from to invest, to support, to spend on bringing Burna Boy? Yeah, lady among, if you haven't heard it before, I am sure it will rock your nerves. Good. So that is something I want us to talk about. Those of you who know what's happening, you could start gathering the information, send it into my WhatsApp. And so that we will have enough information to share on that particular issue. Those who know. Good. Well, let me start from Friday. Kofi asked me a number of questions. Some I can't remember, some I may remember. But one of the most important of all those questions in my mind is, how will you deal with public service income? How will you deal with income, wages and salaries, Mr. Amsterdam? That position is out there all the time. I'm a member of the Working People's Alliance, an executive member of the Working People's Alliance, the WP. Since the coalition was in government, we proposed, through Clive Thomas, first and foremost, a direct cash transfer to every citizen. Well, not every, well, technically every citizen, every household, of approximately $5,000, which equates to about $1 million Guyana annually. Now, at the time when that proposal was made, a lot of people, including the sitting government, basically threw water on it and say, hey, that can't happen. We will not be able to afford it. At the time when that proposal was made, Clive Thomas, Professor Clive Thomas, had already done some projections. And he was saying to Guyana and the world, the oil that we are talking about is so much. We are going to meet 1 million barrels of oil a day. Right? And the amount of oil that is going to be produced would be adequate. The profit from that oil will be adequate to give Guyanese at least $5,000 annually per household. And he went forward, he said, listen, I'm not saying that the government should take all the money and do that, but there should be a cap of about 10% of the income. So take 10% of the income and give direct cash transfer to households. And so the 90% that is left, y'all could do what y'all want, including thief it. Right? And y'all don't tell me I should say steal. We Guyanese will say thief. If you're stealing, you're a thief, man. So you're thieving. Good? Right. So Clive Thomas said, listen, every household should get about a 5,000 US. But let's put a cap to 10% of the oil revenue. So when the oil revenue is low, all right, we're starting up, so it's going to be low. Let's take 10% of that and divide it for each household. So it didn't necessarily have to start with $1 million. But as the oil revenue increases, that 10% would have increased. And so the direct cash transfer to households would have been increasing. And eventually it could have gone to $5,000 per household. The sitting government basically did what? Pour water on it, cold water. Said, nah, we can't do that. the PPP kind of do a thing and say we're going to consider it. And then in recent times, they start saying, nah, we can't do that. And the supporters from deep down in the gutter comes up and say, I want handout, are you lazy, I don't want to work. When I would take $1 million a month, in fact, last evening, I think I saw a comment to that extent. When we give direct cash transfer to citizens, next thing you know, the oil done, oil stop pump, and Guyana got infrastructure. I've never heard such ignorance, especially given the evidence that we are in a season of bounty. And so where do I stand with income for the ordinary working people? I stand with the WPA proposal, as we call it, the Buxton proposal. Right? I stand with that. And a part of that proposal, which a lot of people haven't realized, addresses the issue of a universal basic income. And so I stand with the universal basic income. That is how people should be treated. Nobody should be living in the level of poverty that Guyanese are currently living in. And oil is pumping at the rate it is pumping. Good? So you have my answer there, Coffee. That's my answer to that particular question. What was the other question? There was a question about foreign affairs in regard to Venezuela. I can't tell you a whole lot about. Yeah, give me a minute for Costa Iris Ali. Madness there by Iris. That's why she continues to support the PPP. To tell me I'm a madman. Iris, you mad. And your whole generation mad. And that is how the PPP responds to what I want to say, constructive criticism. Ideas that they can't really contend with. They attack the person. Ad hominem attack, that is what we call them. Attack of the messenger. Well, this messenger don't sit down idly and accept attacks. Not every day, Iris. So think again. Good. Foreign affairs. How will I deal with Venezuela? I would look for the best international relations consultant that we have in this country. Not to say in this country. Guyanese. I don't know if Karaoke is that man currently because I see the PPP held on to him for Thy Kingdom Come. That's first and foremost. You must have up front there the best available to us. Number one. And number two, I will personally stick with a process that we've engaged that has worked over the years for us. And that is the ICJ. I will stick with the ICJ, the United Nations bodies and so on, to try to resolve that issue with Venezuela. I ain't going outside of that boundary. I will not go outside of that boundary. So those who went and do Argyle agreement and this and that, I think they have simply been shooting themselves in the foot. We have had a tried and tested route, and I would choose to stick to that tried and tested route. And in some matters, you cannot lean onto your own understanding. You have to lean onto the tried and tested people too. Part of the problem we have in this society is that if we're not of the same political grouping, the same political belief and so on, we can't work together. We can't work together. How do we build a nation if we cannot utilize the services of our best, and because the best that is available to us has a different political leaning, we believe that that person can be nationalistic and serve in the national interest. So we will settle for mediocrity. Look at the case of Vincent Adams, a man who has worked at perhaps the highest level in the energy department in the United States of America. And therefore, you know the United States of America when it comes to energy and energy consumption and policies and so on. Certainly he would have brought a whole lot of experience and knowledge to the table. But because he was hired by a government that is not the PPP, and he's a member of a political party that is not the PPP, he can't work to safeguard our own interest in this country. That's not good governance. That's not governance to the best interest of Guyana. So Venezuela, that is how I will deal with it. I will stick to the tried and tested path, number one. Number two, I will get the best to advise us on how we deal with it. And number three, sometimes you simply have to take very harsh decisions so that your opponent understands that you're playing is not child's play. So I'm not surprised and I'm not disappointed. I'll tell you the truth. When Maduro calls Ali a clown, that is exactly what he is. He is a clown. Nothing but a clown. And he has exhibited his clownishness by allowing Ali, by allowing Maduro and Gonzalez and Motley and all of them to lure him into a false sense of security with something they call the Argyle Agreement. That is what he is, a clown, and we see it every day. Did you ask me about education? I can't remember. But let me say, in terms of education, education has always been my baby. And again, I would want the best person or person available to us to lead the charge of education. Because education is important for the development and growth of any nation. If your citizens are not educated, and I'm not talking strictly academics, if your citizens are not adequately educated, then they cannot help you in the National Trust for Development. In this day and age, when I look around, in this day and age, when I look around, what obtains the education in this country is joke. It is joke. You have people, for example, who go and do a degree in computer science. And by the time they complete that degree, they now have to go and look for practical experiences. They ain't build nothing, they ain't develop nothing. They ain't invent nothing. The people we have lecturing, and this is no disrespect to the lecturers at the University of Guyana, for a greater extent are first degree people. Some might have a second degree. I don't think, I'm being very generous here, I don't think 25% of the lecturers at the University of Guyana are masters and doctorates and so on, professors. And so in computer science, we say GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So if you have a first degree education, educating your people, then how do they go higher than that? And so in terms of education, for example, the University of Guyana will invest in the best again. You want to be the best, you have to invest in the best. You have the resources. You have the resources. And so you invest in the best. Pay our educators adequately so that they can be comfortable, so that they can grow and they can deliver in comfort. The University of Guyana Center for Communication Studies years ago didn't have a studio and broadcast license. Didn't have a studio nor broadcast license. And we're talking about our only university, national university. And so people are going there to learn communication, mass communication. But guess what? When they leave there for the greater part, the experience is minuscule. They got to go now and start working at all kind of low levels. Most of them, for the greater part, most of us, let me say, for the greater part, might have turned out to be journalists, public relations officers. Right? Very few specialists. So education needs a fix in this country. We definitely have to declare a state of emergency. You have to revamp and retool from the bottom up. From the bottom up. By the time your children get to grade 6, they must determine, and you must have helped them to determine whether or not they're strictly academic material, they want to go there, or they want to go into the tech voc area. I said they don't spend 20 years getting a university degree that doesn't serve them at the end of the day or doesn't serve the country at the end of the day. When last have you heard of a study in this country to determine the human resource needs and the use of that data to fashion where your education is going? So you got a donkey cart attitude to an economy that is now on locomotive speed or supersonic speed, let me say that. So all the people in your society that you have educated that can serve this society from now, the education that they have is education that catered for when you didn't have the resources to build superstructures. You didn't have the resources to push production, value-added production, and stuff like that. All the people you got are people who are trained to be employed, maybe as some service giver or something to the extent. And you're not adjusting your education policy to match the needs of your society right now. So everybody, every technical person who has to be employed to grow the society, to develop the society, infrastructure and others, otherwise have to be imported. So education needs a relook. People need to examine first and foremost, what do we need to grow this country? Where are the professionals to do that? How long will it take for us to, in the meantime, we got to survive, we got to use foreign input. But how long will it take us to grow a cadre of Guyanese who can replace the foreigners or work alongside the foreigners and then replace them eventually? Good. I've answered 3 of the questions. I assume all 3 were asked. I can't remember. I think there were about 5 questions. Good. I hope I have answered you clearly enough. Not only coffee, But I hope you understand my thinking, viewers and supporters. Somebody asked a question the other day, or somebody said something the other day. Maybe this morning I think I saw a comment about age and old people. All them old people. I don't have a problem with being old. I don't have a problem with old people. I have a problem with old people creating humbug, let me call it that, in the systems. There's another word I was looking for, but I can't find it right now. Let me just call it humbug. Or if I can call it sludge. A lot of the elders in the society were educated for a time prior to now. The education from that time to now still would have relevance, but it can only take us to so far and no further. And so there's a necessity for either partnership, and I would always argue for partnership, between the young generation and the older generation. The older generation would have had the knowledge for then to know. The younger generation will collect from now to the future. So when you bridge the current education with the past education and experience, I think the output can be greater. But what we have in these societies, in this Guyanese society in particular, I like to talk about here, this is where I live. We have a set of elders that say, I started this and I must see it to the end. Only I know what to do with it. And so when the world is working with Google Sheets and live stream, the elders are telling you about paper and pen and calculator. And video filming, as we call it. And so they might know what they want to do and how to get it done, or how they think they want to get it done. But their methods are not suitable for this fast-paced time. And so you must have a bridging of the gap to move the country forward. Yeah, I agree that it's time some of the old-timers, as we call them, step aside. I didn't say go into oblivion. I say step aside. Step aside and do what? Be advisors. Be a guiding hand. Be in the back room helping to strategize. Because, hey, the rate at which you have to run when you're leading in this time, by now many of our elders don't have that speed nor energy. Nothing is wrong with them crafting a plan and having a young person run with it. Robbins is telling me that Chetty Jagan Airport is still using big books to record information. I don't know if it happens here, but for the one trip I made to the US, when I was ready to move from one state to the other by aircraft, I was able to check in online. Chick. Turn up, scan something, and go about your business. I don't know if you get to do that here. So that's a good example. It's what Miranda Brown talking about copying the PPP strategy. I don't know the PPP guy any strategy. Except spend willy-nilly and thief. They don't have a cohesive strategy for the development of this country. How can you convince me that you have a cohesive strategy for the development of this country when you have foreign nationals coming to this country to work? And you don't attach them. There's something that is called transfer of technology. a number of your brighter minds in that particular industry to understudy these people. So in a few years or so, you can rely on them. You know, I like to talk about the superiority of the Granger government. I mean, again, I will always repeat, they didn't do as much as they could have done, or they weren't fast enough in what they could have done. Right? Well, let me tell you this. By the time the Granger government left office, there was an entity in this country named PPD something, Power Producers and Distributors of Guyana, or something like that. Power Producers and Distributors. I remember that name. It might not be the total name, but Power Producers and Distributors. If, let's say, Granger government spent 5 years in government. After 5 years in government, there was an indigenous group of engineers capable of doing all of the work that Wartsila was doing in this country for decades under the PPP. Miranda answered that. Granger 10-point plan must have remained in his back pocket because why? Regime change. I always argue the PPP had to go to that no confidence motion to cut the life of the coalition government short, because if they had only allowed them that full term, the Guyanese people didn't want to hear nor see anything about the PPP anymore because of the level of development that they would have seen. Regime change took place. What did the PPP do? Instead of using those blueprints that were there to really modernize this country, they cut and paste. Get rid of this, get rid of that, because they're going to spend too much money on the nation. They want more money to steal, thief. But back to the PP, Power Producers and Distributors. You remember Guyana was renting or buying, I think they were renting gensets on Wartsila. Right? Wartsila, every time those gensets had to be serviced and maintained, Wartsila had to fly engineers to this country. Enough money had to be paid to people. And when they flew in their engineers, what did they do? Locals were doing the grunt work. And because the locals knew what to do, some of them were trained. They knew what to do. And so by the time the Granger government left, there was a more cohesive, a more forward-thinking understanding for the management of those Wartsila gensets and so on. A group of local engineers, a group of Guyanese. Y'all go and check it for yourself. Don't just take what I'm saying. Power Producers and Distributors. And up to now, except if the PPP was vindictive as they were to the Adams, what was his name? The guy from Jamaica, and got rid of him. Except if they ceased to utilize the services of the Power Producers and Distributors company. Up to now, I would want to believe those local engineers are taking, if they are allowed to, of those gensets. The coalition left a working GPL. Yes, you would have had blackout, you would have had scheduled maintenance and so on. But blackouts under the PPP in this era, I would say, has increased thousands of times. Thousands of times. Imagine you fire a man who was proving his competence and replace him with a man that you of yourself were about to dismiss before you were kicked out of government? Huh? And where's the electricity sector now? Faltering. Even worse than when you were in previous government. What development plan the PPP has, really and truly? Next. There was a statement made on this program that I didn't address in depth. Because, like I said, some of these things we will have to continue to talk about today. I remember callers saying that Rickford Burke supports Rizal Ford candidacy. Miranda just smashed a button. Thank you for the reminder. The country is not stagnant. It's at accelerated development right now. But let me explain what is accelerated development under the PPP. How many of you enjoyed Brewster's ice cream? How many of you knew how long Brewster's ice cream was operating in this country? Never before did Brewster's ice cream have to shut their business down. Because of the erratic electricity supply. Never before. There's a notice right now. I think it's on God Mosley's page if I'm not lying. Right? That says Brewster's Ice Cream has shut their business down in Guyana indefinitely. They're projecting that somewhere towards the end of April, they may be able to reopen. Why? Because of the erratic power supply. A lot of their inputs, perishables, have been damaged. And so they now have to take time, go to the drawing boards, come up with a solution for this erratic power supply, put that in place, and then replace their damaged merchandise. And that is what you call development, Miranda? In this day and age, companies, businesses, employers. Can you imagine how many young people, especially how many young people's jobs are on the line right now because of the erratic power supply? Who is going to employ them now, Miranda? Where will their income come from? How will they pay their bills? Can you imagine the amount of frustration that you're putting people in? Christine said the business was a failure. And these are the Indians that make I cuss. Because instead of them look at this jackass government and admit that you got a jackass government, they try to blame everybody else. A patient can never be healed unless he or she accepts that first and foremost he or she is ill and they need doctor's intervention. Understand that? And there's the kind of development Miranda and them talking about. I don't understand it. In 2024, and that is boosters. And boosters can say we might get back into business in another month's time when we get the solution. What about the small man, the ordinary man, who might be hustling some ice cream from a freezer home? Or who might be doing some poultry that they got freeze? Y'all talking to me about that? And so when these clowns talk about development and fast track development and so on, as a friend of mine told me, They're waiting for see Guyanese going to dig up a piece of the road and add some of the dirty water from Guyana inside and have it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Don't mind the roads as second quality and mediocre in their constructions. Imagine in 2024, you having roads built without sidewalk. You still have open drains and you're building modern infrastructure you call roadways. And drains are still open. And you're talking that you can't widen a road or a street that was built since Noah was a boy in the 1960s to accommodate jackass cat. You're rebuilding it now and telling people it can't be wider because you don't have space. When all you have to do is the revetment, reinforcement alongside the sides of the road, cover the drains, and people will have space. And these clunks call that development. It is better to do half of what they're doing right now and do it with quality. So it would be appropriate and lasting. And when more resources become available, you do the other half. Than these jackasses running around to pitch a road and do a road and do a road and do to say that they're doing. That's all they're doing. I got a photo I'm going to show you what development is. Somebody send the name to me here. Power producers and distributors. White Lane, Kingston, Georgetown, Guyana. Established in December 2016. Established in December 2016. The coalition went into power in 2015. By the end of the year, they had encouraged and brought this on board. It's a state-owned enterprise contracted to operate and maintain 4 power plants on the behalf of the GPL. These power plants were previously operated and maintained by Waxhill Operations Guyana. So if y'all think it's nonsense that they're talking, it's in writing. Check the GCCI page, Georgetown Chamber of Commerce of Industry, Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry page. Right? So like I always say, when I come in and talk, I don't come and talk because I want to make PPP look bad. I talk facts. I'm going to show you all something. Where is it? Yeah. I see it here. We're talking about road construction and quality. You know, some people do just to say they do. Your parents tell you, wash them pots. And you vex. You really up on a pot washing business. But you know you can't rebel. You're going to wash them pots. That's what the PPP depend. They're doing for say that they do. But how lasting an impact what they do got? How lasting an impact? Yeah, look at this one I'm showing you. Look at that. That is development, Miranda. The road that you see breaking up there, it's in 3 months old. That road is not 3 months old. And look at it. That is one. I'm showing you the other one. And guess what? Both of them in Buxton. Both of them are in Buxton. PPP gonna tell you what. We build road in Buxton. asked them about the quality of road that they built in Buxton, and they said development taking place. Watch. Talk about that. Talk about that. Good. Development. 5 and 6 and 8 and 10 hours of blackout in a working day. Roads built and breaking up 2 months after, 2 weeks after. Roads built with such a width that only one vehicle could use it at a time. Only one vehicle. No two vehicles can pass side by side. And that is development. Let's move on from that. I was talking about the Rizal Ford matter. Somebody called and said Rizal Ford workers supporting Ford's candidacy because Ford filed the lawsuit against the Guyana government on behalf of Ford. On behalf of Burke. And so it's a quid pro quo. Is you watch me and I watch you back or something. I think I started to say that I have no concern in whether or not that is so, or whether or not it is true or false. Ford is a liar. Burke, for want of a better term, is a lobbyist. Was Burke supporting Ford prior to the lawsuit being filed? I'm sure I know that that was the case. But is there anything wrong in I exchanging my services for yours? My bench shop is advertising for me. I'm advertising for Mark. Both of us, we're providing a value to each other. What is wrong with that? Is there a conflict of interest there? Tell me how. I don't see a conflict of interest. I don't see a problem. How Burke and Ford choose to deal with the issue? It's a matter for Burke and Ford. But like I said, Ford is a legitimate member of the PNC, and so he has a right to aspire to the leadership of the PNC. Right? So those of you who have the opinion or are trying to create the opinion that I have a problem with what Ford does to Burke or Burke does to Ford, put it in your pipe and smoke it. It doesn't affect me in any way. Those are two adults. Both of them have services to offer, and so they can decide how they trade with these services. Right? Good. I said this morning there's snakes in the grass. They got a lot of snakes in the grass. They got some people that's come on these programs just to create sesh. They got some people that sit in political chats just to create sesh. Attention grabbers. I got a friend used to say their ass is attention. They're suffering from attention-seeking syndromes. We have to be careful. We have to be aware of those people because we're going to end up dividing each other over stupidness. If there's your intention, don't bring me in it. Snakes in the grass. There are lots of snakes in the grass. I saw Kaicho News reporting, in case you didn't see it, that the Guyana government surreptitiously, quietly, easily, like a thief in the night, went to the CCJ to try to overturn the court's ruling on, I think, that EPA matter and Exxon and Guyana. You mean a group of people could be so desperate to do harm to their own country that while the court has ruled and the citizens are resting at night, they are working through the night to empower foreign nationals to continue to do harm to us? Can you imagine that? You got snakes in the cabinet. I think the Calypso was snakes in the barrister or something like that. We got a set of snakes in national government here. What you just do with snake? I saw people burn the whole building to get rid of snakes in it. We gotta get rid of these snakes. Today's Monday. First day back at school. I hope the teachers are planning to go on strike from tomorrow, because that matter is not yet fixed. Right? That matter is not yet fixed. But let's tell you, like I promised, I'm going to give you some information. There is no money to pay teachers according to the government of Guyana. But the government is spending $150 million allegedly on Burna Boy. Right? Reports have emerged from government sources indicating that the government of Guyana is set to allocate a staggering $150 million in support of the upcoming Burna Boy concert. Sources close to the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Charles Ramsey, have confirmed that the government, through Ramsey's ministry, will be extending its support to facilitate the concert. Radio advertisements promoting the event conspicuously omit any mention of government's involvement. Instead, they attribute the concert's organization to Hits and Jams, ENET, and One Guyana. The inclusion of One Guyana in particular raises eyebrows, as it is not an established institution or organization, but rather a government slogan. This choice appears to be deliberate in order to distance the government from the event, perhaps in anticipation of the lashback that will come when people find out. So here is your government, Miranda, talking about development. Development comes through education. But your government is willing to spend $150 million to bring Burna Boy to Guyana for a concert. I will tell you what I know. Dictators and oppressors appease the people by bringing circuses and clowns, entertainment, so that the people can be distracted from the excesses of the government because they focus on entertainment. Right? Burna Boy, I will tell you, is not a cheap artist. Word out on the street is that he charges $1 million US for a concert. $1 million US is 200 million Guyana dollars, right? You tell me. And that's just the artist fee. You have to advertise, there are lots of other things which they will have to do for the artist. You tell me, between Hits and Jams and ENET, if you believe they would expend 200 million Guyana dollars to host Burna Boy, I am saying I'm of the firm belief they won't. Because for very many reasons. The cost that you can charge for a ticket in Guyana, given the economy, does not guarantee that enough people will be able to buy those tickets at those costs.
for you to get back your investment plus return on investment. And so you will only expend that kind of money if you have the government or some other organization subsidizing your cost. And how will they subsidize your cost? For every ticket that you sell under the real market value, they pay you the difference. So for every ticket that is being sold for $6,000, that's what, 30 US dollars. The government might be either paying the other 30 or other 70 for 100 US dollars. I don't know what these concerts cost overseas. But I'm sure that they expend in excess of $200 million to bring an artist here is not likely to happen, because the ticket prices that you can charge here are not likely to be able to bring you back that investment and return on investment. And the Jamaicans say, if you not so, it close to so. If you not so, it close to so. Even if the government is not investing $150 million in that concert, they are investing Guyanese money in that concert for the simple fact One Guyana is there as one of the sponsors. What is One Guyana? It's a government slogan. Slogans don't sponsor nothing. Chips. And if we were in a real democracy, by tomorrow perhaps we could have asked a question of the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture and gotten an answer to say, well, yes, the Guyana government is investing X dollars in this concert. But I believe if you want to live long and you wait for that declaration, you are going to live long. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. Somebody say, look and see the majority of people going to be there. You know what, the majority of people on the boat cruise yesterday? Imagine you had more people left on the boat than on the boat. Yeah. You hadn't easy at all. Yeah. Where are the regulators to ensure that the tickets being sold for these events are not more than the capacity of the venue? In this instance, the capacity of the boat. Where was the health and safety measures in terms of ensuring that the capacity of the boat was not exceeded? Call it live. Thank you for holding.
Said, but we got to do our best and leave the rest for Mr. Arbinat. You mentioned about teachers. I'm glad you mentioned about teachers. Why? And you use the word, if them go right back to strike tomorrow. I said long, the teachers them did not win. They lost. Now I said the teachers them and the union supposed to give back the government a new package. And the
But Flash just said already. Why are you going back to it? After you don't say it. Huh?
Because people were saying Flash God is wrong to say.
But Flash, we don't deal with it. Why we still dealing with it?
Anyway, I myself looking forward for the teacher to go back on strike. Good. Over the weekend, I was talking to my niece about politics. And she mentioned to me something. She said that my uncle, they cannot find nothing upon Arbinat because he is clean like the board of health. I said, what? And she repeated to me. And when me and she finished speaking, it's what come to me. The word of God again. Let your light shine before men, that they could see your good works and glorify the Father which is in heaven. My God, my God. And I said, you know what? Exactly. about Abi Narton. Abi Narton let his light shine before my black brothers and sisters and all Guyanese in Guyana from since 1972 and said when he joined the PNC. That is the reason why I'm rallying behind Abi Narton, because he light shine. He light shine when he said these words will not stand alone and let Jack take everything away from black people. And he going to that election without the help of WPA. But one thing WPA did, they encouraged voters to go out and vote. But AFC walk away. And AFC leader knew what Jadio all about is to control everything. And if Ramdatan, we talk about politics, if Ramdatan we love black people in Guyana, he would have never walked away from Abi Narton. He will stay with us and prove to black people that look, all hands on that now, because we will not make Jadio take away everything. That is how Abi Narton proved he light before the voters them on there. Black people, be careful. Dark days. Jadio talk about dark days. Let not Jadio kill our children in school. Remember what his supporters them did. They go to kill them black children. Don't say Trangado when we go back there. It's election time, and my black brother and sister must remember these things and vote for somebody who will represent them, vote, protect them, vote, and make them benefit of their vote. The second incident, when police supporters go in school compound and threaten our black children them and tell them, don't come back here, this school belongs to Koli. Nobody, no lawyer for the PNC side pick up that case up to now. Nobody get jailed. The third time, what you expect them to do? You don't have to go to college or university all the time. They will come and kill our school children, and black man never put a stop into that now. No one never. Stand up and fight, my black brother and sister. Don't say God, why you don't come and do it. I can't come and do it. I'm a citizen for America. But I could still give a word or two advice and encourage. My grandma teach me nothing come to black people easy in this world. She said we have to fight for it, fight for it. It belongs to us. Stand up and face. We have to step out of this nonsense word, democracy. It does not benefit us. Why we must live by the word democracy? And it only benefits Koli people when we live by the word. And Koli people do not live by the word democracy. It is time for we love. These were the flags God said, love, unity, and support. Let us come together. One love. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm informed that when Burna Boy performs in the US, the tickets are 200 US and up. 40,000 Guyana dollar. What are they charging here for a ticket? 6,000 and so? Check it out for yourself. So the maths thing, y'all tell me. Call your life.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam, and good morning, everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to all Guyanese. I'd like to talk about two quick, brief things. A little bit. First of all, let me also say that what Flash had said, or had just said, is on point with regards to fighting. We need to shift our narrative to going on the offensive. Two things I'd like to talk to about this morning is about the constitutional eclipse and the political eclipse that Guyanese are experiencing. What is the constitutional eclipse? The constitutional eclipse is when the light, the intent of the Constitution isn't been allowed to reach the people. The political eclipse is when the politicians get in the way of that light, reaching the people and using The apparatus, just as the moon blocks the light from reaching the earth, so are politicians creating an eclipse of the constitutional light to reach the people. Today is April the 8th, 2024, and the entire planet will be experiencing a complete solar eclipse. So I just want to tie what is happening above in the sun, moon, and stars to what is happening below to the people who are living under the sun, moon, and stars. So in an allegorical way, I am tying universal order to societal order because they are one and the same. Once again, thank you for giving me the time to explain that to you. I just wanted us to be able to relate and to be able to look at how we are being denied enlightenment.
Thank you for your
And
call.
who are the persons who are interfering with them. Thank you for accepting the call.
Thank you. Call hold the line, please. I don't want to forget this one. Through the grapevine, I want to say it was whispered that the First Lady went to Disneyland over the Easter weekend with 45 children or so. It's alleged that she went there. Any of y'all hear about that? 45 children taken to Disneyland by the First Lady. That's the allegations that have met this desk. We have not heard anything about it in the public domain. So if it did take place, I would want to understand why it took place, who are the people taken, or what the privilege they were, and why we don't know what the First Lady is doing. She just tell me when she giving out sanitary napkins. Why she didn't tell me she carrying people to Disneyland if she took people to Disneyland? Call it live.
Good morning, Brother Kidaki. And I can further say a little more to you, Assalamu alaikum, because of your West African looks this morning. You know, it was said that 75% of the slave ships were Muslims who came from West Africa, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, Gambia, so the entire Western African coast. And we were brought to Guyana as captives, not as slaves, as captives. And we were made slaves on slave camp. You know, some people ask why black people in Guyana behave in this pattern, a kind of tame or docile pattern. Why? We were product of slavery. And on that slave camp, as a matter of fact, there are one madhouse in this country. One madhouse, and it is somewhere around Kanji Bridge. Because when they brought the slaves from the Atlantic into the Bobby River, into the Kanji Creek, 17 miles of the Kanji Creek was a slave camp named Mandalindenburg. When they finished doctrinating the minds of these strong slaves, these strong captives, some would what we would call would flip out. So they would chain them up and fetch them back down the river to the nearest point, and that would be Kanji Bridge, the madhouse. Now, why black people are behaving in this tame, docile state, even though rigors are upon us, rigors, economic, political. So, as a matter of fact, Brother Kadaki, President Dr. Jagan, he said that black people are on the lowest step on the social ladder. He knew what he said. I wonder what he did to bring that into some authority when he was president. President Bonham knew that also, but he didn't say it. He established institutions, the Guyana People's Militia, the Guyana Youth Corps, and those are organizations that were able to help young black people, especially the Guyana National Service. Today, in closing, Brother Kodaki, what we have today, in all the villages, from Bobby's to Chiquebo, black villages, we are seeing black delinquency among young black brothers. Can't read and write, don't have no education, don't have no skills, and they're growing up 18, 19, 25, they're growing up. What will they be, Mr. Kodaki? So, I'm saying, and in my closing, a fish on the sun will suffer. If by some chance you were taken from the water and you were left on the sun, you will suffer until you get yourself back into that water. In other words, then, the people are still sufferers of the colonial past. Another day I will go on probably further from the effects of our colonial past. And if we don't get ourselves activated, or sometimes I use the word revolutionize ourselves. Revolution doesn't mean guns and bombs and planes. It means turn around. The word revolution comes from to resolve, to turn around. Stop smoking, stop drinking, turn to farming, turn to producing. One said, if you do not produce, you will perish. So I say thank you at this stage for the Kentucky.
Thank you. The lines remain on 6225933 is the number to call. I see some people want to throw slight at me. I ain't gonna cuss this morning. Somebody beg me not for cuss. I just listen 1 and 2 times. I said don't cuss this morning, Mr. Amsterdam.
Mr. Amsterdam, good morning to you and your viewers. I would like to make this very clear. I am a Guyanese. I am living in Guyana, and I am looking around and I'm seeing everything that is going on. And I think at this point in time, every single Guyanese is supposed to be looking, especially the black people, what is going on around us. Yesterday, I was looking at this boat cruise that they had, this all-white boat cruise. Are the people, African Guyanese, let me just say, in Guyana at this point in time in our lives, are we serious? Are we serious about our future, our children's future? This is the way we would like to represent ourselves, all in the name of just as you ring the bell to support and to do things that doesn't make sense. We are in our numbers. But when it comes for us to stand up for our future and children's future, we are very few in number. We do not have time and whatever it is. But let me tell you something. You know, at this point in juncture, nobody's going to sorry for black people in Guyana, especially black people, let me tell you. Because it's we. They say all over. Soon as you ring the bell, we're there. You know how much of them who went there yesterday, sure must be going smoothly because they're hungry. They went and spend what they had. You understand? Is this the way we're going to fight these people? To let them know that we need to have a fair share? When the world could watch and see what we're interested in? Where we're putting our mind, our money? Huh? But let me tell you something. I know something coming for y'all. Many of us depend on the remittance from outside. But I'm telling you, it's coming. The people could stop sending it. Because you know why? Y'all don't care anything about y'all future.
Call your life.
Good morning. Hello?
Call your life.
Yeah. What I want to say, man, the first time I ever call you. You on live right now?
Yes, you are.
Listen. We talking about black people and black people and black people. When our black people in power and we vote for them, these guys don't look for us. When you go to visit them, they don't even want to talk to you. We're talking about the same black people who we vote in. I is living in America, brother, and also I live in the Guyana right now. What I want to tell you is this. I talk to all these politicians in Brooklyn, come home, open business, and all type of stuff like that. And my brother, when I come, I went to Harmon. I went to the office. These people tell me, you can't see me. I got to give an appointment. And the appointment never comes. And he shook my hands in Brooklyn. And when I come to Guyana, I can't get to see nobody. Mr. Patterson, him. I went to his office. This guy, I sit there. I sat for so long that the man forgot I was outside there. These brothers don't look after you when you vote for them, brother. When we vote black, like you all guys talking about.
Caller, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Where you went to Harmon for? Where you went to Patterson for?
Brother, I come out to open business that you didn't listen to what I said just now.
No. I listen. I'm asking questions so I can clarify and I can educate me and you. You came to open business.
Yes.
And so you had to deal directly with Patterson and Harmon to open business.
No, that's not what I'm saying to you. I'm saying when you go to these people to talk to them, when you spoke to them in Brooklyn.
So I'm asking the question. What you went to them for?
What I'm trying to tell you, when you vote for your own black people, when they get in power, listen, man, when they get in power, they don't even want to talk to you.
But can you imagine? Can you imagine?
You check this. All the people there who sell in the market and stuff like that will vote for them. I got my niece and all them is be out there. Brother, those guys never look for these people. They give them probably a house lot or anything like that. These guys don't look for you when you don't vote for them, man. That's all I'm saying to you. When you put we own black in power, they don't even want to talk to you as black people no more because you lower than them.
Which minister of government you went in you saw recently?
I'm talking in general, all of them.
I actually, you know.
I'm speaking in general. I don't want to point no finger.
Don't get hot, partner. I asking you some simple questions. What are you getting hot for?
I ain't getting hot. I'm trying to just explain to you that when you vote for your own black people, when they get in power, they don't look back at their own people that vote them in. I'm talking about the same ghetto people. That's what I'm talking about, man. I don't want to say all these kind of different stuff. I'm saying when you vote for your own, when they get in power, they don't even want to talk to you. Because you're lower than them. Because you're the low man. You want to get to. I don't want to see you.
Point made, caller. Anything else you're telling us about?
What?
That point has been made. Is there another point you want to make?
Man, because the thing is, the way how y'all guys will be putting it over. Oh, black people this and black people that and black people that. When black people go black.
Corey, you have made that point. When black people vote for black people, they don't talk to them, they didn't want to see them, they ain't doing nothing for them. Anything else you want to tell us?
Yes.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Kadaki, my brother, what I'm trying to say, sir, I don't have nothing against no one.
Call your life.
Yeah, bless good morning to you, Mr. Kadaki, and those who are in and out of the diaspora, and God bless you too. Guyanese, my fellow citizens, please, I'm appealing to y'all by the grace of God. Let us vote this government out, at least, or get rid of this government out in the right way, whatever God ordained us to do. Let us get them out. Our family is suffering too much. Our children are suffering too much. My fellow guy, is this for coffee and Nathaniel and them? This is what they go about? No. My fellow guy, this is not it. We are causing our footprints them on to fall. With all the effort they have made, and have to make way for us. Why would we allow the way to be destroyed? Sit down, lie down, or stand up and allow people with wicked and evil mind and evil motive to continue. Guyanese, y'all can see this government ain't care nothing about our family. They don't care nothing about the citizen. They care nothing about this country. Why are they fighting against every effort that the citizens are making for development process? Look what they're doing to teachers. I can't believe this to God above. Look what they are doing our school children. Why they don't want to give them an increase? For what reason? Why are they so wicked? And then say they're supporting Barnaby. Barnaby become a what? Bring for born down the family, they train them with wickedness and evilness. I am not saying it. And them both cruise with see Guyana. People got right to go enjoy themselves occasionally, yes. But those with wisdom will not do that. And that's why those they've been treated with disrespect. The both know mistake they got, and they always sell more. Must check it and see. Enough of them is left for the place. Left them, they're going back. So if they want here, more people are saying, we don't like here, they got for feel. That is them iron side for them who suffering in that way. But those of us who look at live righteous and raise a righteous family and community, that is where it hurts me. And I hope that the police, the soldiers, and most of all the whole public sector look and see how they are being treated by this government. They are fighting against us, the citizens in every way. They don't run right in the step prepared. And for those leaders that that guy was talking about just now, if the AP and you in power, who serve as a minister, you don't want to go into the minister. They got to allow the agency to work, the section them to work. You go to a section, and then if they get a complaint, you go to another level, and that's how it goes. And otherwise, you can't look over pipe because there's in here corruption like what kind of the PPP government. This government in here set a wrong example for Guyanese to follow, and some people believe it's the right way. People are always going to the minister, they're going to the, every minute they're going to the president. Why you think Maduro said that out? He's a clown. Not even a clown, he's a puppet. A point of correct, he's a puppet. You know what a puppet is worse than a clown. Anybody could be a clown and act to make people laugh and bring joy for people. And they could be intelligent and wise at the same time, and they do it for money purpose, or over the case. But a puppet, anywhere you pull his string, he move, he jump, he go. And it's a disgrace for no Maduro telling this government and that they are puppets. And they're right to say it. Why would you go put in police upon you country police? Why the hell you doing that? Why Jagni are you doing that nonsense? Disgrace in this country. They ain't gonna change Maduro mind. Why the hell they allow all them events people come in and say about their Guyanese? Some is Guyanese, yes, and Guyanese parenting. Allow that. But you rather wonder why they're not doing their wicked government, this government. They are evil. And I'm asking Guyanese to vote against it and stop pretending, especially them voters. I just stop pretending and let the truth come, you know. Or I actually ain't gonna suffer. They can go out of this country and they can let this nation down to fall. I am telling you, but God will respond this. God bless you, Mr. Kadaki. God bless this program of Guyanese. We're going to get there, we stay in the righteousness of God and resist them evil. Have a blessed day, Guyanese.
Thank you for your call.
God bless your program.
Call your life.
Hi, good morning, Kadaki.
Good morning.
Just a little contribution. I usually was tuning every morning to your program, and there's a reason I don't make contributions. It's because I think it's just regurgitating information and our thoughts repeatedly. I understand the sentiments of the previous our people, our kind, we are unable to go to them, to sit with them, to even have as much of a conversation. But those are information that is privy to us for years now. What my contribution is that we should focus on the children who are coming up and what they will be able to benefit.
Caller. You have something in the background that's feeding back. I rather suspect you're listening to another device. Please turn it down or off, and so we can get a clear conversation.
Yes, sorry about that.
Thank
yes,
you.
That was my yes. So I am just here to share that. We should focus on what legacy we were trying to build to leave for our children and their children to come. What are some of the things that we can put into place so that they would be able to benefit? I am so happy to see you take the time out every single morning to come and share with us your ideas and your thoughts. But I think sometimes the information is too regurgitative, and we need to move forward as a people. We need to move from this state that we're presently in and do things differently. All whoever we put into office accountable, whether it's the AFNU, AFC, the PC, we need to begin to hold these people accountable. We need to be serious about what we're doing. And another thing, the people that stand for us, what are we doing as a people to protect these people in any event of anything or anyone trying to bring harm to them? What are we as a people willing to do to protect our people when they stand for us? And that is something that we seriously need to look at. In the days of Burnham, I'm not so aged to know a lot of things that Burnham did and those who were around him, but I read a lot of some of the things and some of the people who were there protecting him in the event of anything. Burnham had people protecting him on all sides. But today, our leaders don't have that level of protection because our people are afraid. There was a time when we stood up against these type of atrocities that were that when our people were targeted, we stood up and protected our leaders. We need to go back to those types of things. So that's my contribution for this morning, Mr.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your call. Elijah Menom 6225933 is the number to call. There's something, some part of me that's saying I have something to tell you that has slipped me so far. Call it live.
Morning to that. You can't see that call. Let me talk to that one. That's not call you for meeting ministers and what's that and what's for. And he want to go business, etc. I got a business here, right? And you know who I don't even know. I think he's the Secretary of Treasury in charge of business. You think I meet him and ask him to help me? What he wants is help. He wants somebody to fast track for him. Let the agency work. You don't go to nobody, the minister who's in charge of anything in no other country, and ask them to look, I open a business, this is what I want to fast track me. What happened to the other people who got these things in place, that going through the system and going through the right motion? We're always looking for a help, and this is why these people right turn the backs on us, because we want to make them gods, and people like them. Let's make them people feel as though they're better than us. Let the system work. The system is in place, let that work. Go directly, this is what you got to do. That is what you got to do. That is what you got to do. The minister don't have to tell you that. Now you talked about education. I love how you hit that. And this is where we got to talk about decolonizing our education system. Because originally our education system was built to put people in plants to work for the plants. This is how our education system was built. We should start looking at places like Germany, Scandinavian countries, and see how their education systems are built. And it's working for them. Because as you said, who are going to technical, who are going to technical, who are going to academics, who are going to academics in Germany. That is how it works. And when you finish your school, you do your 2-year apprenticeship. If you want to move on to go into the engineering and go further, you continue. That is why there are places that could build anything easy. And number 2, you don't put a lecturer to teach business and never own a business in some way. You don't do that. You don't teach you to put a finance man, teach you finance, tell you how to become a millionaire if you only have $500,000 or less in your bank account, ain't got no stocks or bonds or nothing. Right? I hear the president talking about human resources, etc. When you talk about electricity, the situation in the country, I tell somebody, take note. They are getting ready to collapse that industry, and then they're going to turn and privatize it to one of your deal front men. It is coming. They're going to privatize that place if we left them there. They're going to privatize GPL and give it to one of your deal front men. So take note, people. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your call. Call only line. Let me tell you all this. Call only line, please.
Okay.
Please mute your mic. Let me tell you all this. I asked the question of that caller who said that he shook Armand's hand in the US and he couldn't get to speak to him when he came here. Caller, please mute your microphone. You know how many hands I shake? I shake a lot of girls' hands and I couldn't get kissed when I wanted it. I'm just being facetious here. Understand this. And it's a problem. These are the things that foster corruption in many societies. There are agencies established to help citizens to achieve certain things. Go Invest is supposed to be a one-stop agency for people who want to invest in Guyana. You are come back here, as we like to say, you're returning home to do business. First and foremost, stay in the US and do your research. Which are the agencies I need to engage when I get to Guyana to do business? Also, as you're researching, find out how efficient they are so you allocate adequate time to deal with them. Now, when you come to these agencies and they don't function, then you have a legitimate complaint. Who do you complain to? Who's the minister responsible for Go Invest? You send a complaint to that minister. It doesn't mean you have to see that minister. It doesn't mean you have to see that minister. That minister has a secretariat, which will now collect that complaint, pass it on to the minister. The minister is expected to give instructions to the secretariat, which they are expected to carry out. If you wrote to the minister and you think you've given the minister adequate time, and he or she has not acted in adequate time, then you go public with your complaint. Or if you want to go to the office of the ombudsman, there are agencies of state established to ensure people do what they're supposed to do. Some of us are impatient. We want it now. So we wake up tomorrow, I'm going to open a plantain chip factory, and I want it now. And since there's so many permissions which I need, I can go and ask the minister to waive all of them. Can you imagine if everybody who has voted for a minister gets the opportunity to see the minister in person? Can you imagine if the minister agrees to see everybody who turns up at his or her office to see them on a daily basis? Then the minister will just sit there doing nothing, basically meeting people. Then what is PR for? What are the other agencies for? We have to be realistic. I am saying we vote for we people, as we like to say. And many of us argue they didn't do anything for us because we didn't get personal favors. But I think a lot was done for us as a community. Not enough, but a lot. And these are things we have to acknowledge and stop spewing this nonsense. When you vote for your own people, you can't see them. What do you want to see them for? What you want to know is that they're delivering to you. And if they're not delivering to you, and I'm talking about delivering to you as a country, if they're not delivering, then you have all right to call them out. And there are many agencies and many platforms on which you can call them out. I'll tell you all something, and I like to share these personal experiences because I hope people understand when I'm saying these things. I work with the government of Guyana, the coalition. I, like every other citizen, applied to the Ministry of Housing for land. Because of where I was working, I had access to every minister phone number. When was Valerie Patterson Adams and the many other names she has at the Ministry of Housing there, I went there to interview her and other things. I never mentioned to her one day, Minister Patterson, I have an application in the system for a piece of land. Can you fast track it for me? Never. The first minister of government I accompanied as a communication officer under the Granger government was Annette Ferguson. I don't even know if she remember that. The flag raising at Bartica. I had access to her number when she became Minister of Housing. I went on outreach with her, as a matter of fact, all to Fort Wellington, I think. I never said, Minister Ferguson, I got an application in the system. Could you fast track it for me? I've worked in close contact with ministers and other operatives of government. I never asked them a favor. I told in line like every other citizen. I bid for contract when Patterson and then been at Public Works. Roadside cleaning contract. First year I bid, I got through. The second year, I understand all the lots, as we call them, were divided into two with the argument that more people can get. The year I ain't get none. I could have called Annette Ferguson. I could have called Patterson. That's not the way to do business with government. Because I understand this. Every time you want to see one of these persons personally, that is how the corruption is done. Even if they don't ask you for something, you turn up, you meet them in person, you talk with them, you left something. And then the left something attitude grows. That people believe that you have to left something. Many of us foster corruption in these societies because we're not prepared to toe the line and call out people when they have to be called out. Thank God, I ain't one of them. And I thank God that He gonna keep me so that I ain't got to become one of them. That's why I just start strong and I just start hard. And I just tell you, I'll please and thanks and my favorite words. Because when I want cost you, I must cost you freely. Call your life. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, Kadaki. Kadaki, good morning. And I totally agree with you because I listened to you. Years back, I did that. And I try to find the right agency to do things with them. But Kadaki, I think it's because the way how they have their things set up, it's too much. It's too much. It's not like on a wide range where, like in New York here, if you're going to do sports or you're going to do culture, who is going to be responsible when you put in an application that you know that person is dealing with that, and then when another person going to come in and look at the application to say, well, okay, this application is correct, let's move with this, and when the person comes back, you will be able to tell them, say, well, listen, this is missing from the application, and when you go back now, every piece of your document is there together. They do not have that system. When you go back, your application is gone. They don't know where it is or nothing. I think that is the biggest problem that Guyana has. It does not keep your thing in the right and proper place. So, it causes conflict with people. People feel that, oh, you go to Guyana, you got to wait all this long time. They have nothing in order. You have nothing in place. You cannot go back and get your personal documents. Usually if you want it back, you be like, all your personal documents is gone because they don't keep nothing in order. And it is a sad, very, very sad case. And I totally understand what people are saying, but you got to find the right agency. And what you have said, it makes people eyes should open up and find the right source first before you go there and do anything.
because it's going to make you get so angry to know that you come to Guyana, you waste your money, come to Guyana, and nothing is, you cannot get nothing. It's going to take you maybe like 10 years to get anything go forward. It is sad. It is very, very sad. Kadaki, have a blessed day.
Thank you for your call.
Okay.
If I have business to do and I turn up at the business place and the line look too wrong, I walk away. And I go back when it's convenient to me. You have just learn. Call your life.
Yeah, good morning and a good week this week. Now with this thing with this born boy, you see when these people bring these artists, the people got to know what to do. But when they hear these artists come, the relatives of Brother Gladman and them who living outside apparently say they're going to stop sending the remittance. Now with yesterday boat cruise, I think why the people bombarded that boat, nothing was on the boat cruise. So by the door, he don't go out to protest. And he went to the boat cruise, doing so got all of those people. Now, one thing the Guyanese don't understand, a boat has a capacity of how many people that could take out the cargo, the load. And when you go and you overload a boat, and when the people decide something, they might run to one side. It depends on the boat. And should they run to one side on those flat bottom boats, they flip over and you lose lives. And when you stop to study how people get on to go to certain things and they don't study the own that they got to look after, they got other things that is more important than what they do. You can't talk to them. You can't tell them nothing. With the other thing that people talking about, they come to see, they do the meeting ministers, and when time come, they can't get to do anything. I could remember, I have a small group, the majorettes, and I used to write and ask for assistance. I have one minister, but all the rest do. But all the rest, they used to send whatever they can, and if they send you a letter and tell you they don't have money. And I had to accept that. But people mean, as you rightly say, they want everybody, mean they must think. But what the ministers should do on another time, God open days when you could meet with people. And when you have open days to meet with people, you got a list. And you meet every time in the month, you put 1 day or 2 there to meet with people. And I think people would welcome that as a good venture to meet with the ministers. And for the, remember, on the president, Granger, lots of people seen that Granger tenure was a bad tenure. But we must remember, Granger had Suku, where he was trying to regain and recapture all that was lost. One such person was Westward, when certain things were being taken back. But the thing of bounce off the Suku is when they stop, I think is this lady, the hack, for the taking the matters to court that caused that thing to flop. So we can't always blame President Granger. Everybody got to do things accordingly. And whatever a person does in this life, however little it is, we must be thankful, because from people, mistake. History is about mistakes and achievement. We can learn that the road that Granger went down, another leader will not go down. And the man talk about who did this out of government what they doing, a glad talking about it. This installed regime that is in is destroying the African people mainly. And if they see an Indian person is following up, they destroy them too, because they mean that they must get rid of us. And when it comes to people talking that Norton is a black person who wouldn't have Indians following him, well, I went to a function, a sporting function, and in that sporting function, it had a few Indian people with Norton. So please stop sending the message that Norton hates Indian people. When I made that statement at Buxton, he saw me and he spoke to me. And I understood what he said to me. So people stop doing it. And with the two persons who are going up against Norton for the leadership, I am not saying they are wrong, I'm saying they are right. But I hope whosoever wins the leadership for APNU, that the losers do not do like what Mr. Harmon did and what Van West did and what Van West continues to do, to show complete disdain for APNU or former PNC, that was his father-in-law's party. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. I didn't even realize it's 70 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour now. There's some voice notes I want to play. Let me play them, please, and thank you.
Good morning, Kadaki. The PPP going to the CC.
See, some of y'all can't follow simple instructions. Please let me play the voice notes.
This order there. It is not the people they are running from. It is the shame and embarrassment of the result that the CCJ would bring forth, would bring a shame on the CCJ to do that to the Guyanese nation. The result would have been secretly out also. So the world is watching the CCJ now to see what they would do to the Guyanese nation. It is what the CCJ would say. The CCJ themselves right now, I think, would think twice or refuse to go with the government with this one, because this would be a slap in the Guyanese people's face. Bye.
Thank you for that voice note. Your Honorable is not only under the coalition, indecent proposals were made. And you know that indecent proposal is the other day, under the PPP. Aksu and Jack Dio.
Good morning, Kidaki and viewers. Our caller was talking about black people and black people. Look the way of black people are treated. I'm speaking about Guyana, the country of my birth. A man who is qualified to be a commissioner of police was put to share amber for the pandemic. A man who is qualified to be a fire chief, the second best in the Caribbean. Andrew Lewis, look at the way they're treating him. Open our eyes. Look what they did to Minister Cummings' vehicle. They moved for Alda Lawrence, one of the best in the Ministry of Health. And I can go on, the list can go on and on and on. Black people, wake up. Wake up. Open your eyes. I ain't able to talk about boat cruise and so. They got no. I know my grandchildren, they gone to school this morning. All of them, all as in A&M.
Kadaki, good morning. It's the same thing to do when Mr. Granger go in power and everybody want land. And because Mr. Granger respond to them right away by giving them land, people start taking up lands and building and doing their own stuff. It's the same thing they do. They don't like wait. When they go to the ministers or they go to whoever, they want everything must happen right away for them. Right away it must happen. And that's my take.
To you, my black brother, the government is doing that is to show the people them from UN, look how they spend how many millions of dollars and go to a concert. And if they was not having money from the government, they would have never make it there. That is to show the UN people them. Black people stay away from that concert. Teachers, go out and strike tomorrow. They must pay you guys or shut the school system down.
Okay, it's 9 hours 22. It's time for me to go. I have things to do. Lots of things we have to talk about. There's some information that I will have to share with you eventually, but be a strain. Stay focused and do your part. Have a great day. Tonight is Politics 101 with Dr. Hines. Join the program. Tomorrow morning, return right here for another program of Guyanese Morning Time. We shall continue to talk the things and analyze, and talk about what these people consider development and so on and so forth. Bye-bye. Have a good day.